It's called the city of 10,000 lamps. It's called the city of 10,000 Buddhas. Started with the thought to bring enlightenment to every living thing. It's a place for cultivation. It's a place for transformation of the common one into a holy Sangha.
Ron Epson and I used to have coffee before COVID often. He told me a story. He said one time he was driving Cardinal Yubing and Churku somewhere, and in San Francisco, and he looked over his shoulder, and the two of them were like holding hands, kind of cuddling. And he said it was so cute, you know.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, those two religious leaders started in the same hometown. I mean, how amazing is that, you know?
What town was that?
It's called I think it's called Lalianjian. Lalian is the Lalian station. It's close to Harbin in Manchuria. Oh, Shuangchengxian. It's in Twin Cities County, Shuangchengxian, near Harbin. Yeah, and they heard about each other growing up, but they never met. Because they were both filial children, and it turns out that that Cardinal Yubin's mother had heard about Master Hua, whose name was Bai, that he was a filial son, and she used to say, "Why can't you be filial like the filial son Bai?" and so Cardinal Yubin told. I was with them when they met for the first time in L.A. They were already grown up, you know, religious leaders when they first met, and so Yubin says, "My mother used to scold me using you as the example." And Shifu said, "Yeah, well, I heard about you too. You were supposed to be the big scholar. My mother told me that I should work as hard as you did in my studies." So then they meet when they're 50, 60 years old, you know. So
what an incredible good fortune it is for you to meet with them at the same time.
Oh, geez. Oh, man.
You know, to witness that.
Yeah.
That's incredible good fortune.
Yeah. So we, and the funny thing, we were doing 3 steps, 1 bow, and we had come down to LA for the weekend to bow outside while Shifu lectured inside, and we'd go in and listen to the sutras at night. So halfway through the Saturday, Shifu said, "You two get in the car. We're going to go meet someone." So we stopped our bowing, we got in the car, and we went to some suburb in LA, you know, one of the many ones. And we came in, there was a layman's house, and Shifu was talking with us in the living room, and we heard this person coming down the stairs, and into the living room came this really tall Chinese wearing a purple gown with a big cross on his chest, and I remember he had a gold skull cap. And he said in Chinese, he said, "哇，你的声音好像很熟悉的样子." He said, "Your voice sounds so familiar to me." And Shifu said, 当然，我们是知音者. He said, "Of course, I know your sound. We know each other's sound," meaning we're soulmates, you know. So they were speaking the same and their voices were identical, the same Manchurian, you know. And the two of them started doing this. "Oh, do you remember that intersection where the sweet shop went?" You know, they just totally took off, and it was really. And we're like, Marty and I were like, "Whoa, this is something."
And I remember that Cardinal Yubin used to have to sneak off to Gold Mountain because he was, you know, well known in the Christian community, and to go to a Buddhist monastery, you know, you got to do it incognito.
Yeah. So I was there for one of the greatest of Yubin stories. Yubin came to go to Wanfochang, and so Shifu told us later after Yubin passed away. He said, "You know, when Cardinal Yubin came into the Buddha Hall at 10,000 Buddhist Hall, he said, in my mind, I thought, how am I going to cross him over?" So Sherpa thought, I got to cross over this Catholic cardinal. So so I said, they went down in front of Guanyin, you know, our 10,000 hand Guanyin, 1,000 hand Guanyin. And so Shifu said, now we all bow to the Buddha, Cardinal Yubin. And Yubin goes, very, very good, very good. Because you don't do that if you're the cardinal, you know.
Right.
So you don't bow your head to the other image, you know. So Shifu says, okay. He said, Cardinal Yubin, he said, I've got a job for you, he says. I want you to be the Buddhist among the Catholics. And Yubin goes, you can see his wrinkles his brow. He goes, Shifu says, oh, no, don't worry. He said, I want you to be the Buddhist among the Catholics. And I'll be the Catholic among the Buddhists. He said, that way, when the two great religions leaders get along, he said, there won't be any more wars. What do you say? Yubin looks around, he slaps his leg, he says, I'll do it. And he does a half bow to Guanyin Bodhisattva.
Wow, that's great.
I saw that. I was right there, and that was like, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
So Shifu smiles, you know.
Yeah, that's really fantastic.
Yeah.
The integration of the two faiths, but Shifu was always into that, you know.
Right. Hey, speaking of which, I was there for another one of these moments. There's one of the great, these are my interfaith stories that I tell when I get a chance. So Heng Wu, Reed Smith, right? Heng Wu, and we were in the, it was 1987, and the 10,000 Buddhas repentance had happened, right? Mm-hmm. And so after the 10,000, I said it wrong. The water, land, and air ceremony had just happened. 100 Chinese monks, nuns, and lay people came out of China. It was the first time since Mao, you know, that this many Chinese left the country to go for a religion thing. So they had pretty much gone home, but there was still a few left. And Shifu said, we're going to have a world religions conference. We're going to have, you know, we're going to call the world's religions. Sumedho was there. And what's his name from the Baptist?
He has a dent in his head. He has a big dent where he's got like a 1-inch dent in his head. Did you know that?
That was Ananda.
Yeah.
Bhante Anando. So anyway, Tom, what was the name of the Baptist minister in Ukiah? Tom I forget. So he was there, Sumedho was there, Ron Epstein, some of the monks from the Waterland. Okay, so this conference began, and outside the gate there were pickets who came. There was a splinter Christian sect. They were fundamentalists. They're really hardliners, right? And so the day of the conference, outside the gate, we got this, the phone call, you know, call Shifu, we're being picketed. They're demonstrators outside the gate. And so, there's a sign that says, time left 6 minutes. We're gonna run short on our time, then I'll call you back if the clock runs out. Okay.
You'll call me, or should I just push another record meeting button?
Okay. Yeah, and me too. I'll join you again. Okay. So Reed Smith was there, Bhikshu Heng Wu. So we called Shifu. Shifu was in his K building, right? And we said, Shifu, there's demonstrators outside. He said, what's that? And we said, well, they're holding picket signs. They say, Jesus knows that what you're doing is lies. Jesus saves, you know, down with the devils, you know, these signs like this. Shifu said, I'm coming right down, said Shifu. So he got in his golf cart and he came down to the AO building where we were. Here's Reed Smith, here's Marty, here's me, here's Heng Gong. And so Shifu says, hop on. We're going to go down and greet him. And everybody is going, no, Shifu, this could be dangerous. We don't want you to go down there. And Heng Wu, you know, who's a big, tall guy, young, strong monk, he said, Shifu, I'll protect you. You know, and Shifu says, no, you won't. He says, you need protecting yourself. He said, don't kid yourself. So Shifu, we hop on the back of the golf cart, and he goes zooming out to the front gate, the mountain gate. And sure enough, hear all these people, men and women, young and old, wearing white robes with rope belts. They had their, tied in ropes. And one of them, the tallest one, this guy about 6'4", he's got a long beard, big burly guy, and he's got his sign, Jesus hates liars, and so Shifu goes right up to the biggest one and stands right in front of him, tugs on his robe, tugs on his beard, looks up at him like this and says, "Welcome, in English, welcome to city of 10,000 Buddhas," he said. And then Shifu says, "Help me translate." So Heng Wu is right there. He's got good Chinese. And so Shifu says, in Chinese, which is translated, he says, "I know you're really tired. You've been working so hard at demonstrating. Come on inside." He said, "We got everything for you. You can demonstrate inside. Are you tired? We got beds you can sleep. You can rest. Are you thirsty? We have cola." He says, "We have milk. Anything you want. Come on inside. We welcome you here." And these people are all like going, "What? Is this the bad guy? We were told there were bad people here." And Shifu's, "Come on in." He's tugging them in. And he's pulling on the robe of this big, tall, 6-footer guy. And the guy starts to giggle because Shifu was just so, lovable. And they drop their signs. And Shifu follows them over. They huddle. They do a huddle to figure out what to do. Shifu says, "You know why I welcome you here? Because I have Jesus' spirit of love in my heart," he said. They're all, like that. And so they talk to each other. They turn around, get in their vans, and drive away.
Oh, they didn't come in?
They drove away. And so Shifu turns to us and says, "That's what I mean when I say no fighting," he said. Yeah. So we go over, we start our meeting. Everybody's sitting around talking about, Father John Rogers was there, And so there's a knock on the door outside, and here they come, all washed and clean, with different robes on. They all file in and join the meeting.
Oh, they did. They came back.
They came back.
Wow.
They washed up and came back. And
that's incredible. Was I here then? Was I at CTTB then? What year was that?
I don't remember. It was 1987.
I was gone.
You were gone, yeah.
I left 82.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this was like, so Tom, the Baptist minister from Ukiah said, "This is amazing." He said, "We Christians have so much trouble with this group because nobody ever satisfies them. They're hardliners." He said, "But you met them once and you transformed them. How do you do it?" Master Hua says, "No fighting." He says, "No fighting." That love. So that was one of my favorite Shifu stories.
Yeah, it's what links people together. Did you know the Karmapa story? Did I ever tell you that? Because I was here for that. I'm the one who spent the whole day with the two of them. Did you know that?
I saw part of it. I'd like to hear your part, and I'll fill in my part.
Okay, well, I was serving, Shifu was eating in TM at the time.
Uh-huh.
And Karmapa arrived at the gate. Nobody told him he arrived, but the master knew it, and he said, "Go ring the Arhat bell." And it never been rung for anyone before. And someone went and rang it. Then Karmapa arrived with Kuntrul, Jamyong Kuntrul, and one other monk, I believe. And the master was just so happy. The night before, there's a funny story that.
There we go.
So the night before, I knew something about giving a kata. You know what a kata is? A silk scarf, yeah. Of course. So I couldn't find one in TM. I looked, all over every room and everything. Finally, I found this rope that was all tangled, like a tangled rope that was actually woven somehow. And it's really about the length of a kata, but it was certainly nothing that even resembled one. And when I saw Karmapa, Karmapa was sitting with Shuò, and I was serving the tea and all the food and everything. So I gave Karmapa, like in a respectful way, this piece of rope, hoping that he would take it as a cotton, put it over my head. And Karmapa held it in front of Jamgon Kuntrul as a tent, and he says, "What is this?"
Yeah.
And he just kind of threw it down, and then he's so spontaneous. He grabbed my robe like this, in my arm, and he pulled me right in front of his face, and he stuck my robe in my face, very forcefully, and he says, "What is this?" And Sherpa was laughing, because he knew I just totally blew it. But so that was the initial meeting with Karmapa. But that whole day was just incredible, and I escorted Karmapa and the Sherpa around. There was many incredible things there, but I want to follow up with something that probably hasn't been, most people don't know so much. When I left in '82, and I spent about a half a year or 8 months meditating in the Golden Gate Park in the trees there, and all day. And then I went to Nepal, and when I went to Nepal, just by chance, I met the abbot of the largest Karmapa monastery in Nepal, a Kagi monastery. So I wound up teaching in that abbot's school, in his monastery in a different village, in a lakeside place called Pokhara. But when I met, his name is Gelson. He just died November 3rd last year. He was my closest friend and my family friend throughout the years. But when I initially met him, I said, "Well, did you, by any chance, talk to His Holiness Karmapa after meeting, after he went to America? And did he say anything about my teachers?" And so he says, "Well, when us monks went and met the Karmapa upon his return from, the U.S. tour, he said that we asked him if he met anybody in America that was like equal to our Tibetan masters. And His Karmapa said there was only one." And of course, we know who that was.
Mm-hmm.
And there was so much incredible love between them. And there was one thing I would sure like to know, if you know the answer to. Like after they left, they went upstairs in where Sherpa's, what is it called, where Sherpa's career and everything is?
K.
Yeah.
K building.
Yeah, they went upstairs in K and they debated emptiness for about an hour and a half. You know that,
Wow.
right?
I didn't know. No, I didn't know.
You didn't know that?
No.
Sherpa challenged Karmapa. He said, "Let's debate emptiness." And they went back and forth for a whole hour and a half. I guarded the door downstairs, so I didn't see any of it because I felt I was going to go upstairs, but as soon as I entered the door downstairs, I thought, you have to guard the door. You can't go up there to be entertained. You've got to guard the door. So I stayed downstairs the whole time. Heng Guan saw the whole thing, and he told, Heng Guan was my best friend, and throughout the years, we talked about everything. And a lot about cultivation. We had a lot of affinities. And so Heng Guan told me about the whole meeting. And then I was in PM one night, and I was walking around. I used to walk around the halls late at night. And I passed a door that had, that was ajar. And I saw a box of black and white photos.
Oh.
Incredible quality, like pro, of Karmapa and Sherpa face to face debating.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so we were so strict on not moving one rock from one place to another place, one teacup that didn't belong to us. And I saw those photos. I went through them all. I said, I gotta take some, but I didn't. And then I was trying to get my guts up to take some of those photos for like a week. They were still in that room, and I passed that room, and I looked in that room. I said, yeah, they're still there. And one day they were gone.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and it was just a treasure of photos. So I contacted, since when I came back here 2 years ago, I contacted Alan and all the likely suspects, Hung Lai, about those photos. Nobody knew who took them.
Whoa.
Alan didn't, Hung Lai didn't. Obviously, you don't.
Yeah.
And so I'm still hopeful, because what I might do is I think I might know one of the people there that was with Karmapa's group. And he's still alive, and I heard he's teaching in Colorado. So I'm thinking that maybe he stayed in TM after His Holiness Karmapa left.
Okay.
And maybe those photos belonged to him, and when he left, he took them.
So the other possibility is the nuns at Gold Sage in San Jose collected all the photos, and Hung Yun, Bikshuni Hung Yun, was in kind of the boss of that. It was an attempt to get every photo and every video, which there are very few videos of Sherf gathered in one place. And they, as far as I know, they made JPEG and also TIFF backups. Every photo they made an TIFF, which is raw, and then JPEG of everything. I don't know. I don't remember seeing Sherfu debating Karmapa or conversing. But
well, they were, is that for sure?
I'd love to know. Yeah.
Yeah, they were for sure. And I was downstairs when they came out, and it was a bright sunny day, and I held Karmapa's umbrella. There's a photo of that. My holding his umbrella and a group photo with Sherfu. It was an incredible day. And Hung Guan said that Hung Guan gave me a blow-by-blow description of the whole debate. And it went on for an hour and a half, and it was just incredible. I saw those photos, and you could see in the photos, they were so alive and interacting, When I was with them, one of the incredible things, I'll tell you one story that was just like supernatural. I can't resist. During their meeting here for hours, they was here the whole day. When we Sherfu, myself, and Karmapa, Sherfu wanted to show them the 10,000 Buddha Hall. For some reason, I always, at least for some important people, Sherfu always asked me to be the one that accompanies them. I don't know why. So I was the one who accompanied when Xing Yun visited, and when Karmapa visited. So what happened that was so incredible was Sherfu and Karmapa were walking into the Buddha Hall, 10,000 Buddha Hall. From the floor, the Guan Yin is really high up, quite a distance. And the two masters were talking to each other. They were so alive, both of them. It was like just pure love. I mean, as the Karmapa had a kata in his hand while he was walking, and he's talking to Sherfu, looking at Sherfu, and he takes the kata and just throws it up. That kata kept going up and up, and it landed in the cup of Guan Yin's palm and stayed.
Wow.
Stayed there. I mean, even physically throwing it even anywhere to get up that high, a kata is still, it's very light. It wouldn't get that high, but it got there. Not only that, it landed in the cup of the palm. And what a lot of people don't know is who it was that snuck into the Guan Yin Hall that night, got a ladder. I got up to the palm, stuck a thumbtack into that kata.
to pin it to the hand. That's very funny. Very funny.
Yeah. But that was totally incredible. It was just supernatural. I watched it, how did it get up there,
Yeah.
Even throwing it that far. But that was a meeting of pure love. And so was there was a few of them. There was one with Kalo Rinpoche at Gold Mountain. Do you know that one?
I missed that one too. No, I wasn't there for that.
I was the one again serving the tea, to Kalo and Sherfu, and they had a meeting that was very similar, you know. And I was going downstairs when Kala left, but Hong Guan was upstairs. And what happened was really funny. I got it from Hong Guan that Kala, you know, had to leave. He was with Lama Lodro.
Uh-huh.
Sherfu got him in a bear hug on the couch. They were sitting together on the couch, and he said, "I'll never let you go." And, I'll never let you go. And he was squeezing him real hard. And Lama Lodro, he's a kind of a peculiar character. He didn't know, he didn't get it, you know, that where Sherfu was coming from. And he got like really furious, you know. And Sherfu said, "You can't go anywhere." And of course, Kala, he didn't, you know, he was Kala was always in samadhi, you know, and Sherfu knew it. And, you know, they were both on the same level, and Kala didn't do anything. He just, you know, went with the flow, you know. But Lama Lodro, his neck was, you know, standing and getting like red, and it was quite a meeting, you know, with Kala Rinpoche also, but not as long as with His Holiness Karmapa. But afterwards, Sherfu made some comments to Hong Guan about how great a yogi Kala was, you know.
Is that right? Wow.
Yeah. Please tell me about what you know about the Karmapa meeting, because maybe you know something I don't know.
The story that I heard, we were eating underneath the TM in the downstairs. That was where the cafeteria was. You remember?
Yeah.
We used to have all our food down there, and what I heard was that their cars, they didn't know how far Ukiah was, and their cars broke down on the highway, one of the vehicles. And so they were supposed to come for lunch, and we were waiting and waiting and waiting, and they didn't come. And it was because their car had broken down somewhere outside of Hopland or something like that. And so who arrived first was the entourage. They had this entourage with them who were like handlers. And these people, they were not very
blowing horns and everything, right?
Yeah, they had this whole thing, and they were a tough bunch. They looked like European, maybe you know, they might have been French or Swedish or something, but they were like, you know, they didn't want to have anything to do with us. Just get out of the way, you know. We have business here, you know. We have to get our teacher welcomed, and so they so Sherfu at one point, it was like half an hour, 40 minutes. Sherfu said, "You all go ahead and eat." So we all started to eat. And then I don't know if he sent you to greet him or someone, but they finally made it. And the entourage had spread out a throne. Part of the welcoming for him was a throne.
Yeah, of course.
And so they took the throne, and I think they took it up to K. It might have been K or something. And they adorned it. And at this point, the Karmapa had met Sherfu, and so they got to where the throne was, and Karmapa said, "Take that away, not here, not here."
Oh.
So
I know where that throne was. That's where he gave the black crown. Did you know that?
The black hat, yeah. So he said, "We're not doing that here." He said, because he'd already met Sherfu, and he knew that he wasn't sure. It was not just another Zen center. This was a real.
But, you know, he gave the black crown here. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know.
That is the most amazing meeting the most incredible meeting I ever saw in my life. And the most incredible form of Sherpa was that during that black crown ceremony. I told this story a bunch of times. Do you know it already?
No, I don't.
Okay. So it wasn't upstairs where Sherfu, I think it was the downstairs where the nuns do recitations now sometimes, that building.
Okay.
But I'm not sure which one it is, but it's on that side. And Karmapa, you know something about the black crown. It's like the most sacrosanct, you know, religious ceremony in all of Kagyu tradition, and been going on for hundreds of years. So anyway, the bottom line is it's a really sacred ceremony. It's a special initiation. Karmapa's on the throne. Lama Lodro's right beside him as an attendant, and some other monks too. Karmapa has like about 30 students there, from all over the world probably that were, accompanying him. And then we had our camp too. And so the Black Crown ceremony is very brief. It takes about literally 5 minutes. There's a crown that's been passed down for hundreds of years to different Karmapas. It's made of angel hair, and with real valuable gems in it. It's in this box that it's been in for, how many years, I don't know. I think the Karmapas go back to 700 or something. And so the ceremony consists of presenting the box with the crown inside to His Holiness the Karmapa. And then Karmapa opens the box very slowly, and then he takes the crown out of the box and places it on his head. And I believe it's his left hand that he holds on the crown, while he recites a few mantras, literally for about a minute, and then takes the crown off his head very carefully and puts it back in the box. Now, the reason the hand is on the crown is something I found out firsthand in Nepal. And this is really an amazing story. That the crown is supposed to be made out of angel hair and from the heavens. And all the pictures you'll see of the Black Crown, Karmapa is always holding his hand on the crown.
Uh-huh.
In Nepal, I met a very wealthy person who had a big house there that hosted the Karmapa for the Black Crown ceremony in Kathmandu. And he told me firsthand that Karmapa, when he was given the Black Crown, he ordered everybody, all the windows in the house to be closed. And then he gave the Black Crown, and this time he took his hand off it. And this person told me that the crown left his head and went above everybody's head. It came back on his head, and then he put it back in the box.
Wow.
So, yeah. And I got that firsthand from the person that he was the son of the father that lived in the house that his house was. So, but that's not the incredible story. This is the incredible part. So this really sacrosanct Black Crown is going on. It's only like 3 minutes, like I say, minute. Main part is a minute, but the whole thing is over in like 3 minutes. But right when Karmapa's got his crystal mala and his hand on, and he's like in a really deep state. I think in the Black Crown, it's supposed to be the masters entering the Dharma Dhatu. And with Karmapa, that's probably true. But Shifu got up in front of Karmapa and he starts walking back and forth, like literally 4 feet in front of him, and he's raising his hand. I'm the greatest Buddhist in the world. Every move I make is for Buddhism. When I move my left foot forward, it's for Buddhism. When I move my right foot forward, it's for Buddhism. And he was going back and forth like this for the entire Black Crown. Lama Lodro was furious.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Unbelievably furious. But you know what happened? Chirpu's doing this big thing, and then it was going on through the whole thing. Karmapa wasn't phased at all. It didn't move, but he's literally right in front of him, an arm's length away. All of a sudden, there was 30 of Karmapa's students. They all burst out laughing. They couldn't contain themselves. They all were laughing hysterically. And when the whole thing was over, there was a Q&A. And so the first Q&A from Karmapa's disciple was the circle, paraphrasing the Bodhidharma question. He said, what is the great master Shuò Hua's reason for coming to the West? You know what Shifu said?
No, what do you say?
Better food in the trash cans. And everybody laughed,
Yeah.
It was that whole thing was so over the top because, I mean, even what's funny is all of Karmapa's disciples, they all got it. They all got what a trip Sherpa was on. It was just, he was just being totally Chan. Karmapa was being totally Tibetan. And they were just like, they were equally enlightened, but they're doing their own thing in their own way to enlighten people. It was just so incredible. But what was really funny about it, like all of Karmapa's people were laughing and having a good time, and they really barraged Sherpa with all questions. It was pure love. All the people on our side didn't get it at all.
Oh.
So the room was divided in half. All the Karmapa disciples one side, all the nuns and the bhikshus on the other side. None of our side laughed or anything.
Wow.
Nobody from our side. There was. You ever tell a Western joke to a Chinese person?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know.
Stone face.
Frequently, I'm frequently trying to communicate humor to both sides, and it's tough. It's tough.
It doesn't work. Maybe I don't know. I'd like to be tested on some Chinese jokes because maybe it's.
Oh, I know. No, if you can tell a joke in a foreign language, you got your finger on something good. So.
Anyway.
All right. So I'm gonna depart. This was good. Let me know if you want to go again. I think we haven't even scratched the surface of stories from Gold Mountain. That's our gem because there's so much. I mean, we got Buddha Root Farm, you remember? And oh man, we've got your fasting and
remodeling the place.
How about the bus trip on the bicentennial year? Remember? You and me and Heng Guan traveled all over the country on the bus, including Las Vegas, including Atlanta, remember Houston? We stopped at Mossbacher's family. You slept out under the tree and freaked out his wife. Oh, that was so good. We stayed at the home of the Coke. What was his name? The guy who had the secret to Coke, and the secret formula. And
he ran over my foot when I was getting in the car, and he was wondering if he was going to get sued or not.
That's right. He ran over your foot. Oh man. So, and then I remember for me it was food. I had such a problem with food we had ice cream, and that was my only visit to Las Vegas. And we ate at the smorgasbords, and oh, that was awful. That was so awful. The food in Las Vegas, boy.
You know what's really poignant? I don't know if you saw my Mother's Day message on Facebook, but I posted a few of them. But the last time I saw my mom was with you and Heng Guan.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the last time I saw her.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I didn't think about it until I wrote a Mother's Day poem on anniversary on Mother's Day.
Okay.
And, Heng Lai was with us on that trip, right?
I don't remember if he was or not. I know there were three of us for sure. Was there a fourth one?
No, it was Heng Lai.
It was the bicentennial because you could buy an Ameripass, and as long as you didn't go back, you could go to any city for $50. I think it was $50 around the country. So
yeah,
bicentennial pass.
And then we couldn't afford a room in New York.
So we kept riding. You keep riding.
Well, yeah, we kept. Yeah, that's what we did. Or, no, we went on a subway somewhere to Boston or something.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah,
okay.
We took a subway, and there were funny things about that. One of the most hysterical scenes I saw on that, the trip we were on was, I don't know if you even noticed it, but what happened was, who was it? It was you and Heng Guan and I for sure, but was Heng Lai there or not?
I don't remember. Maybe we can find some photos. I don't think he was.
Okay, but I think maybe it was, then if it was you and Heng Guan, I was standing aside somewhere, and you and Heng Guan were talking. And New York subway stations have some really strange people inside.
Oh man.
And there was these three really old women, about 75. Two of them were really enormous. and the other one was like very kind of petite, and they were all 75, 80. And the two heavy ones were looking at your Arhat shoes.
Yeah.
And the two heavy ones were arguing about the merit of those Arhat shoes and why they're wearing those kind of shoes and this and that. And then the little one chimed in with the two big ones, and she gave her opinion. And they almost started a fight. They both like pounced on her, not physically, but started yelling, "Who told you you could talk about their shoes? You know, we're discussing those shoes, not you," you know? And it went on for quite some time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remember the in the subways, the hostile West Indies guy at it was the hot dog stand. And I think we asked for a Coke or something. And he goes, "You want a Coke, man? Is this true? You want a Coke? No, I sell you a Coke." Hostile New Yorkers, man. It was great.
Yeah. Do you remember every time we kind of fall asleep in one of the benches, a policeman would come and wake us up and tell us to change our benches for protection?
Yeah. And
if they see you sleeping, they can come up and knife you or something.
Yeah. So it's like that whole trip passed in a food haze for me. That was in my time of always being afraid I wasn't going to get enough to eat, and I always wound up overeating as a result. So I passed in a haze, always nodding like that. That was 1976, the bicentennial.
Yeah, and you remember how angry Alan Cranston was when we went to meet him at the White House, I guess it was, or
Senate. It was the Senate.
The Senate building, and he was furious. Do you know why?
No.
Because when we bought CTDB, Beckstuffer put it up for sale again. State of California wanted to buy it back, and we bid against the state, and even though the state resources were better than ours, because Beckstuffer met Shuò and kind of liked Shuò, he gave it to Shuò under really terrible conditions, you know, really strict conditions. Like if you default once, the whole thing goes back to me. That was the agreement.
Okay.
So Cranston really had a negative attitude towards us, and he said, "What are you going to do with that property that we couldn't do?"
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, that's a really good detail.
Yeah.
Cranston. Yeah, he was a senator.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a boogie. All right, this is good, Richard. Let's continue. All right.
Okay. Okay. What do you want to shoot for? Like once a week and just talk what we.
That's good. We can do another session for sure. Yeah.
All the